Hi, today we're going to work with photographs using CorelDraw and PhotoPaint, and we're going to try to see if we can combine two photographs. It's something you may have always wanted to do. You know, you have a picture of this and you have a picture of that, and you wish you had a picture of both together. So of course you would use, a lot of people use Photoshop. I use PhotoPaint just because that's what I have. Let's see how we might do such a thing. I have these two pictures of a cat and a mouse. I thought it might be kind of funny to make it look like the cat is standing there and the mouse is hiding behind him, peering out from behind. It would be a funny picture. So let's see how we might go about that. PhotoPaint and CorelDraw work hand in hand. You can go back and forth from one to another, and that's what I like about the program. Is the way they work so effortlessly together. Let's start by, these are both JPEGs, and I want both of these to have a transparent background. We'll find out more about what that means in a minute, but a JPEG does not have a transparent background. A PNG may or may not, a PNG, portable network graphic. But in CorelDraw we have the ability to convert to a bitmap. And we do have this transparent background option. This is just for a video, so I'll make it low resolution. Well, about medium. I'll go 150 for this. If you were printing it, you'd want to go to high resolution, but we're going to go 150 RGB with a transparent background. I do like the anti-aliasing. That was hard for me to say. Anti-aliasing, which, if you don't know what that means, you can Google that and it'll explain what that is. We're going to do the same thing with our mouse. 150 anti-aliasing, transparent background. Alright, let's work on the mouse first. Now that this is a transparent bitmap, if I go up here to edit bitmap, that's going to open up PhotoPaint and bring my mouse into there. So here we are in PhotoPaint. I'll get everything center here. And our mouse is here. And what we want to do is get rid of this solid white background. Now, fortunately, this mouse is against a white background. A lot of photographs you'll find, stock photos, are intentionally photographed on a white background for that reason, so that it's easier to drop the background. And there's a couple of ways I can work on this white background. I'm going to show you one. We won't use this, but I'm going to show you it. This is an older version of Corel, and your controls, depending what version you have, might look a little bit different than this, but they all have the same name. Under this flyout here, I'm going to choose my color transparency tool. And what that does is detect everything of a certain color and highlight it so that you can delete it. I do have a tolerance up here, so for the level of tolerance of the between the one color and another. I'm going to see what happens when I click on this. You can see what that does is eliminates my whole background. My problem is it also gets some of the white here in the mouse's face, which I wanted to keep. So what I'm going to do instead, that's useful if there's a real hard edge on your object and a white background or a single color background. That's a good way to eliminate it. So let me go back here. And let me show you another one. This is a mask tool. This is your mask flyout. There are different kinds of masks. And what a mask does is mask over one part of image so you can work on the other without affecting the masked area. Basically, that's what a mask is. And this one here, the magic wand mask, that detects edges. So if I click magic wand, you can see it detects the edges of this mouse, but not quite good enough. And so what I want to do, let me remove that. Mask, remove. I'm going to go up here to my tolerance, and I'm going to give it a little bit more tolerance here. Let's go 20 and see what that does. Magic wand. Alright, that's better. In fact, that's about what I want. Except for this shadow under here, we're going to have to work on that separately. So, now that I have my mask, I'm going to click Cut. I can either click it up here or I can do Control X, my shortcut, and that cuts the background out of there. So that looks pretty good like that. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to zoom in. We'll try our magic wand in here too and see if we can get rid of some of this. And if I hold down Shift, I can do more areas. Oops, see, now I don't want that. If I hold down Shift, I can do more areas at once, like this. Once again, Cut gets rid of that. Now I got a little bit here. I can use a magic wand on that. I can also go up here to my eraser tool, and you can see that you can change the size of the eraser. I'll go 10, and you can choose the fuzzy eraser, which gives it a feathered erase. So now I can just sort of erase what I want, and I'm using my mouse. Anyway, I'm using my mouse on for my control. If you want to, you can get a graphics pad with a pen, an electronic pen, which I do have one, and I use it quite a bit for airbrushing and things of that nature when you need more control over what you're doing. Alright, so here's a cool thing about Corel PhotoPaint. If I just click Close, it automatically asks me if I want to save the changes, which I do. And that'll take me back to CorelDraw. And now my mouse is transparent background, so it looks more realistic, like he's standing there. The tail we didn't do such a good job on. You can see an outline, but I don't care about that because he's going to be behind the cat. So all I'm going to do is crop him in like this, get rid of that tail. Oh, the crop is the shape tool, second one from the top, and these nodes here. You can, when you're cropping a photo, you can crop with the nodes. It's going to have 4. You can also add nodes and crop it however you want. And that's a tool you'll use all the time. Anyway, so now my mouse, I'm going to convert him again so I don't get the tail back. Bitmap, convert to bitmap. And the one thing I want to change about this mouse is he's got a little bit of a hard edge, looks a little bit unrealistic. I'm going to feather that out, so I'm going to go back to PhotoPaint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new mask. And I'm going to do that with this command up here, mask, create mask, excuse me, I have to select it. Create mask from object. And that just makes a mask of what I have. And it's a good mask because you know, I already had everything eliminated that I didn't want. I'm going to feather my mask outline. See, mask outline, feather. What that's going to do is give my mask less of a hard edge. It's going to just kind of blur it out just a bit. You can adjust the amount of feather, and you can also do inside, outside, or average. We're going to go inside for what we're doing. 4 pixels is going to be the amount of blur that it applies to that edge. You can't really tell here, but I'm going to invert it now so that the correct area is masked. Invert just changes what's masked and what's not. I'm going to hit Cut again. Control X is my shortcut. And that doesn't really change anything visually here, but when we get back to CorelDraw, save changes, very important, yes. Get back to CorelDraw. Now he just has a little bit more of a less sharp edge here, which I hope you can see that on my video. It just makes it look a little bit more realistic. Now let's work on our cat, because we want the little mouse behind the cat. He probably shouldn't be this big. A real mouse would be about like this. Let's copy this photo and paste it. Then remember our cropping tool, which is really the shape tool. If I crop this second one down, you can't really tell that I'm doing anything because one photograph is directly above the other, matched pixel for pixel, so it really looks like just one photo. But it's really two, as you can see if I move this out. So now I've made what I like to call a cheat patch, which is right on top of my other one. I'm going to convert that to a bitmap with a transparent background. Okay, now I'm going to edit this bitmap because I want that background gone too, and that'll be a little bit harder. And here we are in PhotoPaint, and I want to eliminate all this stuff, the fence in the background and the floor and all that. There are a few things I can do. I'm going to end up using my magic wand, but up here there's a thing called Image Cutout Lab, which I'm not going to work with that today. I have used it. Sometimes I'm happy with the results, sometimes I'm not. It's very time consuming. You have to trace around here. That's something you might want to explore on your own. It is a useful tool, but for now I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go back to my magic wand. Once again, I'll work with my tolerances because the difference between these colors is quite subtle. That cat is almost the same color as the fence, so if I do the magic wand, it takes some of the cat away. But if I work my tolerances, let's take it all the way down to 5. Well, that's a little bit better. In fact, I think I went too low. Let's take this up to 8, 9. There. So I can delete this. Once again, if you hold down Shift, you can delete more than one thing at a time. Now the tolerance here has to be a little bit higher because I'm not getting everything. But we're on our way here. Let's get some of this out of here and let's start working a little bit closer with this. Let's go up to 20 and see if we can get a little bit better here. Here we go. Got a little bit of my cat there, but I'm going to leave it at that. And so you can sort of see how this works, and you can just keep working with it. And I'll zoom in here, see if I can get the rest of this stuff. Now I can also just like with the mouse, grab my eraser and get the last of this here. So we'll just clean this up, get right in there. You can work on this as hard as you like. If it was for a magazine advertisement or something, you really would want to take your time and take extra time, do a really good job. And there's no reason I couldn't do a good job here, but I'm not going to work on this as hard as I might if it was for something I was getting paid for. Zoom back out, and if you remember what we did with the mouse, we gave this a feathered edge so that it wouldn't have such a sharp edge and look a little bit more realistic in the photo. And then once again, the way we did that was we went to Mask, Create, Mask from Object, and then we're going to go Mask, Outline, Feather, Inside 4 pixels, which feathers the inside of the mask, which is our image. That's what we want. and then mask invert, and delete the rest of that, which gives it that softer edge. And we'll just exit this once again. It'll ask if we want to save this, which we do, and we're back. Okay. Now, what do we have? We have the mouse, we have the cat, and we have our cheat panel, cheat patch. So now, if I put my mouse down here, he's hiding behind the cat, which is kind of cute. Now, some people might look at this and go like, yeah, what about the shadow? The mouse doesn't have a shadow. That's true. You can get as fancy with this as you want. It's a little bit difficult to give the mouse a shadow, but there are ways of doing that. We won't work on that right now. We'll put him down here so it looks more like he's standing on the floor instead of floating in the air. And he probably shouldn't even be this big. A mouse is about like this. But maybe it's a little funnier if he's a little bigger, so we'll make him like that. Or maybe it'd be funny if he was real big, like bigger than a real mouse. Either way, you can see now that that was a way to work with photographs that ends up with a fairly realistic combination of two. Obviously, there are some flaws in this, especially the shadow. And I would say, looking at this, we still have a little bit too hard of an edge on this cat. We might want to soften that up just a little bit more. For now, I'm going to leave it because I think you get the idea, and this is giving you some techniques that you can work with on your own to create your own combinations of photos. And I think this is something you're going to use quite often for being creative, and practice these techniques, CorelDraw and PhotoPaint. And I hope your next project goes well.